All right, good morning, everybody. Matt and I are here to do an emergency press conference on the Celtics following yesterday's Game 2 loss. We've got a lot to vent about. We're not very happy fans right now, but this series is far from over, and if you jump ship on this team now, you're stupid. You're stupid. Don't leave this team now. This series is far from over, but we're going to get right into this and start kind of breaking down this game. Not many positives to take away when you blow a 17-point lead.
No, not at all.
And there's a lot to be frustrated about as Celtics fans. But like I said, we're not losing hope, so we'll jump right into it. All right, here's my biggest problem. We went 10 men deep in the rotation and did not see Robert Williams.
I just didn't get that at all. I mean, when you see Tice and Cantor out there, Cantor, you know what, he did good in the first quarter. But if you expect Cantor to do any significant minutes outside of one spurt of scoring, you're crazy. You can't put him in at all. You can't. He just isn't that good.
That's not my thing. People forget, Cantor was giving us good minutes off the bench before the shutdown. Cantor was playing well first. I still think Cantor's a good player, and I think he deserves some minutes. I mean, there was some games this series, or even last year's, we didn't see him at all. So I definitely think he deserves minutes, and he is a good player. But why are we seeing Romeo Langford over?
That is true.
Granted, he's a guard, yes, but he played 1 minute and got hurt. Why are we seeing Romeo Langford and not Robert Williams? Ennis Cantor's playing fine. Like Grant Williams, why is Grant Williams playing 10 minutes, but Robert Williams is not? I mean, this guy has provided great bench presence. Like when he comes in, he's been playing great off the bench. I don't understand it. I don't know what Brad's problem is with Rob Williams. I really don't. There's no reason why we shouldn't see him.
I mean, I can't find anything that Tice actually does better than Robert Williams, other than maybe he has a little bit more Marcus Smart in him, where he has grit. He'll go dive for balls, stuff like that. But Robert Williams is probably the only player on the team, except for maybe Jaylen Brown in instances, who can cover Bam Adebayo in the paint. Bam Adebayo is an undersized big man. It's not that Tice isn't tall enough to cover him. He just can't cover him. He can't cover guards. He can't cover big men. He can't shoot a three. What does Tice actually do well other than show grit from time to time? It just makes me mad that Robert Williams doesn't get any minutes, but Daniel Tice getting 35 minutes. I'm pretty sure game 1, Robert Williams only got 11 minutes or something like that, and he's had the same amount of rebounds as Tice did in 35 minutes. The same amount of points.
I won't take the Daniel Tice slander. I won't take the Daniel Tice slander.
I will.
Great. He has been great for the Celtics. But I will agree with you that Robert Williams needs more minutes. Daniel Tice played 32. Daniel Tice has been good for us. He's a good presence in the paint. Yeah, he has.
He has in the regular season, but
even in the playoffs.
What have you done for me lately, though? What have you done for me lately? Is the thing.
Daniel Tice, you know what? I'm not are you trying to say that Daniel Tice shouldn't get he should be the Rob Williams role here?
He shouldn't be in the Rob Williams role. They should split the minutes evenly.
I agree with that.
It's not that Daniel Tice isn't good enough to play. He needs to split the minutes, because Robert Williams needs to take the defensive end, and he needs to be out there when Bam is out there. But when Bam isn't out there, which is, last game it was a significant amount of time in the fourth quarter. That's when Daniel Tice can come in.
35 minutes last game.
Yeah, that's when Daniel Tice can come in, and he can, provide a pretty good offensive scoring. And he can, from time to time, he'll be good on defense. But it is the undersized for me, and he's not that, athletically gifted. He's very technical, though. I will say that. He has no IQ, though. Daniel Tice has barely any IQ when it comes to basketball. He some of the turnovers and some of the the annoying plays I've seen from Daniel Tice over and over and over again. It's put Robert Williams in there. Robert Williams doesn't have that much more IQ than Daniel Tice, but at least he's 6'11", 6'10", and can actually jump high, block shots, stuff like that. Daniel Tice will do that from time to time, but Robert Williams has proven he can block shots and defend.
You want to talk about undersized? Grant Williams.
I don't know why he gets minutes.
I
don't know why.
I mean, he's too big. He's too big for a 3. He's too borderline for a 4, and he's way too small for a 5. What is this guy?
When they drafted him, I looked at I just looked
at his size.
I didn't hate the draft,
but he was good with Tennessee.
No, when they drafted him, I looked at his size. And I was like, this guy isn't going to translate to the NBA. He's going to be an undersized Jared Sullinger, which is exactly what he is. Yeah, he's an undersized Jared Sullinger.
But he was good in Tennessee. He's another one that gave us good minutes in the regular season. We didn't see him much up until after. We didn't see him much up until after the OG shot against Toronto. That was when we started seeing him more. We really didn't see him at all in the playoffs.
What people don't understand is whatever you do in the regular season does not matter. This is why James Harden, Russell Westbrook, the Suns in 2004 with Steve Nash, they don't translate in the playoffs because regular season stats do not matter in the playoffs, which is why you would always get bounced in the playoffs when Rockets are a different example because they just shoot the ball and try to call fouls. But what you do in the regular season, Grant Williams put up 12 points in the regular season. I'm not saying he did, but say he got actual minutes, put up 12 points a game on 20 minutes, per game. It does not matter in the postseason because if you cannot translate that in the postseason, why are you playing minutes? I don't know what to say, honestly.
Now, I do want to get off the big man hate a little bit. I don't want to beat the dead horse with that one, but I will say this series, like I said when we opened up, is far from over.
I got one thing on Jason Tatum. I love to death Jason Tatum, but this guy's got to figure out an effing zone. Anytime whenever they switch to zone, he either just pump fakes and then passes it to Marcus Smart or Kemba Walker. He refuses to drive. After game one, after that block that Bam Adebayo had against him, it's like he lost all of his confidence. He doesn't drive at all. I mean, when he does drive, they were playing men. He was blowing by people. When they switch into the zone, all you have to do to beat a zone is drive, and then they'll collapse in, and then you kick it, or just take it to the basket. He dunked on LeBron James. This guy should have all the confidence in the world. He's got the build for it. It's not that he's not strong enough. And stop flailing for fouls every single time you go to the basket. It's every single time I see him get a little bit of contact, he doesn't get a call. You're not LeBron James yet. You're not.
Well,
James
that's what
Harden
he
yet.
wants.
He
wants the superstar calls, and that's a known fact.
He's not going to get it yet. You have to be at least 5 years in the league, unless you're Luka Doncic or something like that. But you got to at least be 5 years in the league, established, and be a real scorer. He just made third team for the first time in his career, which is great. Third year in, third team. That's phenomenal. But it has to be a couple years down the road before you start getting those calls. You can't be preaching for those calls every 2 seconds. You got to drive to the basket and you make them make the calls. You drive in and you take the hits. You don't just take little contacts and try to draw a foul. No, you make sure that ball's in the bucket first before you worry about the fucking call. Excuse my language.
And if we're on the topic of Jason Tatum, I will go back to game one. We've got about, what was it, 18, 20 seconds, possession, tie game, fourth quarter.
Yeah.
And the best shot we have is Tatum pulling from 3 feet behind the three-point line. That's the best shot. You can't draw up anything else.
I honestly, at that point of the game, I don't know. We obviously could have got a better play, but the way they were covering us with that zone all game, I mean, nobody knows how to, go through a zone offensively.
That's youth basketball stuff.
Exactly.
A zone in the NBA Eastern Conference Finals is youth basketball stuff. That is beginner level stuff. Why can't they get through it?
If Brad cannot teach them how to get through a zone offensively, I just don't.
That's some stuff you learn in third grade. He shouldn't have to teach that.
I mean, I'm honestly just speechless. It's just.
The only thing I don't really blame Brad for much, except for his rotations. His rotations have not been great.
Yeah.
I don't like his rotations at all, but everything else, I mean, it's not his fault the Celtics are blowing double-digit leads.
I mean, when you get leads, you have to maintain them, especially in the playoffs. In the regular season, obviously you shouldn't blow leads, but if you blow a lead in the regular season, all right, you move on. We get the rest of the regular season to figure it out. You're in the playoffs. You're in the Eastern Conference Finals. You don't have time
down 1-0
to go back. You don't have time to go back and think about it. So even if you're down 1-0, down 2-0, especially 3-0, we're looking on the verge of being down 3-0. If we get down 3-0, there's no time to think about it. Right now, you should treat it like you're down 3-0. You can't go into these games and be like, all right, we'll figure it out. Like, no, you got to go back. You got to find your identity, especially as a defense. There was 20. I'm pretty sure. I don't call me this. Pretty sure 20 turnovers that entire game.
Yeah, I think there was. They had 17 later in the fourth. And I think they did end up getting the 20.
They keep turning over the ball. They're lackadaisical on the transition. I mean, that was a disgrace to watch as a Celtics fan. That game, that was one of the worst Celtics games I've ever watched. They got punched in the mouth and they sat down. That's plain and simple. That's what happened.
To blow any lead is frustrating, but to blow a 17-point lead in the Eastern Conference Finals, like they had all the momentum. They were in the driver's seat. They had everything.
Same thing in Game 1. They had 2 big leads in Game 1. They blew both of them.
Right. That's a Doc Rivers thing, man. That's not a Boston Celtics thing. I'm tired of seeing that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, nobody's left from the Doc Rivers Celtics.
Yeah, I know, but he just did it again.
Yeah.
Blew another 3-1 lead. He's now accounted for 23% of blown 3-1 leads in NBA history.
That's crazy.
And that man is the most
topic from the Celtics, but that's
overrated coach, I think, of all time.
I think it has to do with chemistry with that team more than anything. I mean, coaching, yeah, but chemistry with that team, they had none.
How weird is that? I mean, Paul George cheats on Doc Rivers' daughter with a stripper. How weird is that? And now you got to coach this guy? Like, how weird is that? But back on the Celtics here.
We can say we're not the Clippers, all right?
We can't say we're not the Clippers. And you know what? Like I said, I'm going to continue to preach this. The series is far from over. I'm not trying to go bald. Yeah. Like I said, if the Celtics lose this series, I'll shave my head bald.
If you're on Turf's private story, they lose the series, he shaves his head bald. You go on full skin, or you go on like a one buzz cut?
Oh, full skin. Full skin.
Oh, man.
And I won't care because I won't talk to anybody. This is our year, man. Well, this is our year to make it to the finals. This is it, man. Like, we got to get there.
Yeah.
But, I mean, when we opened up, I said there wasn't many positives. But one positive I can think of, Kemba Walker.
That's what made me the most heartbroken about that loss. It's like, Kemba finally got it together. He started making shots. He started, bringing this team, bringing his game level to where the team was. And the rest of the team just dropped off. I mean,
and he was our leading scorer with 23. And, I wore this shirt yesterday. Kyrie's a douche. And I wore this shirt yesterday to remind people that with Kyrie as our point guard, we're not playing against the Heat tonight, or last night. We're not playing in the Eastern Conference Finals. Kemba's the reason we are here. He held that team together. And you know what? And yesterday, there was that first falling out in the Celtics locker room after yesterday's loss. The first time we've heard about that all year. Mm-hmm. Last year we were hearing about that stuff all the time. Against Orlando, when Gordon Hayward took the shot, not Kyrie. Kyrie caused a big stink about it. There was so many of those cancerous things that happened in that locker room. Last night was the first time that we've heard the Celtics have a falling out in the locker room. And it's by Marcus Smart, who we know plays with so much heart, so much aggression. That's how he is. And I saw the interview after with Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown, and they kind of said, we love him for that. But from the reports that Jaylen Brown and Marcus Smart had to be separated, it's just they're down 0-2 in the Eastern Conference Finals. And, you just went to 7 against Toronto. There's reasons to be frustrated. Blowing double-digit leads is frustrating. So I understand the reason for fallout in the locker room following the game. Mm-hmm. But this is the first time we've heard about it all year. Maybe this is a wake-up call. Not always.
When you think about it, this is the first time this Celtics team has ever actually faced adversity. They've always been either up in the playoffs or, when Tatum was a rookie, they were down I think it was when he was a rookie. They were down 2-0 against Chicago or whatever. Maybe it was IT, whatever. Regardless, this team has really never truly faced adversity or even come to the point where they need to face adversity. This is a true test for this team. This is a true test for Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum, Kemba Walker, Marcus Smart, the entire team, even Brett, to see if they can pull this together, stop arguing, and put everything out on the court. You have to put everything out on the court like it's Game 7 Saturday night. or else the series is over. You're not going to win this series.
And I think you just hinted at it, and I don't think it's something I have to say. This is every game in the playoffs is a must win, but this is a must win. You can't go down 3-0. I'm pretty sure no team has ever come back down 3-0 in a series.
Nope.
So this is a must win. 2-1, that's doable.
Yeah.
3-0, not so much.
Yeah. I mean, if there were to be a team that would, come back down from a 3-0, it would be a Boston team, flashback to 2004 Boston Red Sox. Let's go, baby. But I don't know. I mean, they have to show me they have heart and they have actual balls, because they didn't have any last game or game one. I mean, even in the Toronto series, they, a lot of times where they just got, that buzzer beater OG, and then what was it, game 4 they lost, I'm pretty sure, as well, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, they lost game 4. Yeah.
Yeah, they came back, tied it 2-2. Toronto showed guts. I mean, Toronto in a weird way, like, had every reason to win that series, but game 7, we finally took that. We just showed we're better than you. We are better. We are a better team than you. That's what I need to see in game 3 Saturday. I need the Celtics, because the Celtics are a better team. They have more talents than the Heat, but the Heat show grit. The Heat play 48 minutes. The Celtics, I mean, they play the first half. They get a big lead and they blow it.
Well, here's the problem with this Heat team. They can shoot the lights out.
Right.
And people need to remember, we've been blowing these leads, but the Celtics aren't getting blown out. These are close games, which makes it even more frustrating. That, what? It took Bam Adebayo. His hand was in the rim. That was the greatest defensive play I've seen since LeBron's block on Iguodala.
Yeah.
That was crazy. That was, and we were watching that together, and we said, that's just hats off.
I wasn't mad about the ending, because I was like, that's a great block. But the things leading up to that, blowing a couple leads before that, all the, Tatum going ice cold. He missed his last 7 shots in regulation and OT. I mean, you got to be better than that. You want to get the star calls, you have to show up in those big moments. You have to. You just have to.
And to wrap it up here, I mean, like I said, I don't need to say it. Everyone knows it. Every game in the playoff is a must-win. But this is a must-win. I'm not jumping the ship, but if they go down 3-0,
I'm not either.
I might be getting my buzzers ready.
Yeah. I mean, they got to show me something. They have to show me any kind of sign.
No, they don't. They just need to hold the lead. That's all they got to do. They don't going to show anything.
They get off to a really hot start, but
just
they have to play 48 minutes. They have to play 48 minutes. If Brad Stevens runs another 10-man rotation,
we don't see Robert Williams. A 10-man.
Why do we extend him for contracts if he's running a 10-man rotation
in the playoffs?
Nobody runs a 10-man rotation. The great coaches, Greg Popovich,
7-8-man rotation.
Greg Popovich doesn't run a 10-man rotation. He might run a 9-man rotation sometimes in the playoffs.
In the regular season, not in the playoffs. In the playoffs, it's always 7-8-man rotations.
Yeah.
There's no such thing as a 10-man rotation in the playoffs. Why are we putting Romeo Langford in for a minute?
Yeah.
This guy hardly played in the regular season, and now why is he getting playoff minutes? Robert Williams has provided us good minutes off the bench. Why aren't we seeing Robert Williams? Why are we seeing Romeo Langford? I don't understand it. I really don't. Romeo Langford was out there that one possession. He's begging Jaylen Brown for the ball. Jaylen Brown passes to Cantor.
Semi Ojeleye was out in the game. What is Semi Ojeleye doing?
That's the thing. All right, Semi Ojeleye is only good when we play the Bucks because he has some sort of defensive presence on the now 2-time MVP Giannis Antetokounmpo. But that's the thing. When Semi's out there on offense, he just sits in the corner. Give me the ball. I'm right in the corner. Get out of the corner. Use your body. He's huge.
Yeah.
He's a big dude.
Yeah, he's a big guy. He's like undersized in height, but he is huge. Like he's got huge muscles. I mean, like he can body himself. He can be like a type of Draymond Green where you can body himself in there. Maybe draw the foul or maybe convert a bucket. I don't know. I haven't really seen too much from him in the paint, whether he can finish or not. But I mean, he's better than just sitting in the corner.
So I just want some explanation from Brad Stevens here. Why is Enes Kanter playing 11 minutes, Grant Williams playing 10, Semi Ojeleye playing 9? And Robert Williams playing none.
Ennis Cantor,
No, but like I said, Ennis Cantor, I said earlier, Ennis Cantor I'm fine with. I like Ennis Cantor. I think he's good off the bench.
I didn't mind him playing 11 minutes, but the thing is with Ennis Cantor, especially like recently, in the regular season, he was like, he gave solid minutes off the bench. But you have
he had 9 points and 6 boards off the bench last night.
You have to put him in spurts like Brad did in the beginning of the game. You got to put him in situations where the Heat don't expect Ennis Cantor to come in, where they're not going to game plan for Ennis Cantor because no one game plans for Ennis Cantor. And then you let him do what he does, and then you take him out. That's what you have to do. You can't rely on him. You can't put him again in throughout the game, over and over. Which is what they put him out in the fourth quarter, I'm pretty sure, and they didn't put Robert Williams out there when I think it was Tice or someone fouled out and Ennis Cantor went in. Or no, Tice got hit in the face and Ennis Cantor went in instead. And Bam Adebayo was out there. I just didn't know why Robert Williams was in there and Ennis Cantor was. I mean, he provides good offensively, from time to time, but also Bam is a Defensive Player of the Year candidate. So I don't think Cantor's going to do a lot against him. I'd much rather Robert Williams out there, blocking shots or providing actually good defensive help.
If you're a Celtics fan listening and you're not wanting to see Robert Williams, I'd love to hear why. I really would. I don't think this is just us being high on Robert Williams. I think this is how a majority or a good majority of Boston Celtics fans feel.
I've been high on Robert Williams since I saw him first get a couple minutes last year. Because his rookie season, he didn't really – oh, wait, it was last year's rookie season?
Yeah.
Yeah. So when he got a couple minutes and, I was seeing him near the end of games, which I didn't put it to, I didn't put much stake in it because it is, end of games, when the game's already, in hand, stuff like that. But, I mean, just his raw athleticism at that, that being that big, it reminds me of Dwight Howard. I mean, I'm not comparing him to Dwight Howard, but, his raw athleticism with his height, I mean, it's incredible. He's like Andre Drummond, Dwight Howard, those bigs with, that can jump really high, block shots. I mean, he's got all the potential in the world to be actually a decent, player. I'm not saying he's going to be, an elite defender, but he can be a really solid player, the 7th, 8th guy, especially right now off the bench. And I just don't know why they don't play him.
So the Celtics get tonight to kind of get all those emotions aside.
They got 48 hours. Get 48 hours to figure it out.
Get focused on tomorrow night, Game 3, a must win. Kind of get those emotions out. They had that falling out. You know what? Those aren't always bad, especially in a team like this. They haven't experienced it. It's time for them to wake up. And that's what we need for tomorrow. They just need to keep the lead. If they keep the lead, if they go up big tomorrow, they keep the lead. I'm no genius here, but they win the game. They
gotta find their defensive identity again because when the second half comes and we have a big lead, we're just gone. I mean, including Marcus Smart. I mean, Marcus Smart, on-ball defender, he's great, but especially when Tice was in the game, they kept running pick and rolls, or they kept running picks on Tice, and Tice kept switching, and nobody would go over until the game was pretty much already in hand, and they finally went over the pick and started covering.
Their switches have been killing them.
There was 2 possessions back to back where Dragic got the switch on Tice, dribbled in, lost the dribble, went out, banged the 3. The next possession switched on Tice, and pull up mid-ranger. I mean, Tice can't cover guards. He also can't cover big men, but that's not the point. Big men on this team, that we don't have a guy who can cover all 5 positions, especially at the big. We don't have, Bam can get away with it, being on that switch because he's an elite defender. But we don't have that guy who can just be, 6'10" roughly and cover the guard. Tice isn't that guy. You have to go over the screen. You cannot switch. Especially on the guards, Tice has no chance. Either he gets blown by or overcommits to the 3. I remember seeing Robinson, the guy on the Heat,
Duncan Robinson.
Duncan Robinson.
Don't disrespect Duncan Robinson.
No, I'm not disrespecting.
A Maine boy.
I'm giving
the Massachusetts Governors League.
Credit. He's an elite shooter in the league. I mean, he's one of the best shooters this season. Probably is roughly the best shooter this season, percentage wise. And Tice was on him, and he overcommits. He overcommitted, and then Duncan Robinson just goes right past him and bangs the 3. He can't cover the perimeter. He just can't. You cannot switch Daniel Tice.
like you said, I mean, we got our venting out of the way, and this is well needed. But guess we're all focused up on tomorrow night now.
Yeah.
I don't want to run this too long. An IGTV segment. We don't want to go too long.
That is true.
So we're gonna wrap it up here. I just want to remind you guys one more time. Kyrie's a douche. With him at point guard, we're not playing. So just remember that.
And that's the truth.
That's the truth. That's the truth. So that'll wrap it up for this segment.
It's been a while since me and you have been like on some type of like podcast. It's been a minute.
It's been a while. So I appreciate you guys listening in, and go Celtics tomorrow.